I love Arcane! I will glaze the show till the day I die. I'll be 60 in the retirement home speaking about this. It might genuinely be the best thing we've made as a species, like, ever. Like, put this on the next space thing that we sent to the aliens. This is peak humanity. But okay, let me calm down. This finale means a lot. Not just for Arcane, but League lore as a whole. I'll be generally explaining my thoughts on the finale and explaining to the best of my ability League lore and some of the theories for the show. If you want to skip to something, here's everything I'll be covering, so strap in kids, we're gonna go on a ride. This show is too good, but I do have some gripes with it. So before I do Krispy Kreme glaze it, here are just some things I want to talk about. Spoilers, obviously, so please click off if you haven't watched it. The ending was a little bit season 3 bait, but it might not be that bad. Okay, hear me out. Jinx ain't dead. Okay, Jinx dying in this manner would be a pretty okay capstone to her character. Jinx, as a character, is someone who keeps trying to help, and that help is always in a form of violence, and it always ends with something messing up. In season 1, act 1, she tries to help, but ends up killing most of her family, and in this act, the violence is neither intentional, and she doesn't end up saving anyone. In act 3 of season 1, she uses violence and killed Silco and the entire council, which hurts, her new father and her sister, because this event hurts Vi's relationship with Kate. And she doesn't save anyone, but the violence was intentional. And finally, in this finale, she saves someone. She intervenes and she saves her sister, but still using violence, still using the same monkey bomb from the start, and still killing a family member. But this time, it's intentional and she finally gets to be the big fat hero she's always wanted to be. But the cost of that is still family, still Vander, and if Jinx is dead, her life as well. But dead or not, she's a complete character. Her being dead would kinda do a lot for other characters, especially Ekko. So in episode 7, if you kinda extrapolate it, Arcane is a little bit of Ekko's fault. He gave them the tip that would lead to Powder getting the Hex Crystals, which means in both universes he caused deaths. In the Multiverse universe, everyone but Vi lives. But if Jinx is dead in the canon universe, Clagger, Milo, and Jinx would be dead, and that would, to some extent, be Ekko's fault. Also, if she's dead, I guess Vi would finally be able to kind of let go. She doesn't need to be held back by the past. She doesn't have to savior complex anyone because, well, if someone's dead, you can't really save them. So it's just up to Vi to just get over this. But nothing externally could pull her away from dealing with this grief. It would just kind of help with the poetry of it all. But also, if she's alive, I'm not as bothered by it. Okay, yeah, little bit BS if she lives through this, but consider this. When Silco appears while Jinx is tweaking out, he tells her that the way to end the cycle of violence is to just walk away. And what does Arcane end with? An airship flying away. And in the first episode, one of Jinx's first lines are her saying one day she'll ride one of those airships. So she's on this airship and she's walking away. She's ending the cycle and she'll be free. It's kind of peak. I would also kind of like it if the decision of the siblings to stay away from each other is intentional. It's not a death preventing them, because that is just playing into the themes of Arcane. So while I'm dead, I'm okay with this ending. But take a look at this. So I look right here. You see this little purple dash, right? Purple streak at the end of the explosion. I'm not just saying anything, but Caitlyn was looking at the little plan, so she saw the duck that Jinx would have escaped from. That's all I'm saying. As for the other deaths, I was kind of fine with all the endings, open-ended or not. Heimerdinger is like 100% not dead. This motherfucker said back in a wink as his last line. He's displaced somewhere else. He's not dead. But as I've said, everyone gets their character arcs, and Heim actually does get one. He contributes to making a hextech device. He doesn't think about the repercussions of whatever the magic is. He just finally, for once, gets his head out the past and helps someone in the present. As for the other deaths, I'm very happy that Banner didn't become human again. I would have loved it if they finally got their little happy family time. But I feel like the tragedy really is that he's not coming back. That we get a little bit, just a fucking bare ball tickle of happiness. And it is instantly yanked away from us by his death. It also has helped that Isha is the one that killed him. The fact that Warwick is never human after this point helps me accept that Isha's sacrifice was a sacrifice. She really put the old dog down, saved Jinx from being killed by Vander, and saved Jinx and Vi the emotional pain of having to kill their real father. Now for Ambessa, I think I'm fine with how she died, but asking you all on the internet, were you all peeved that the Noxian soldiers didn't intervene? I think it's really telling of like Noxian soldier loyalty and their faith in their commander. It is also just Ambessa being so sure that she won. Like, her hubris is what got the better of her. She couldn't fucking conceive that Kate and Mel could beat her, and that was her undoing. That's kind of peak. She got outwarred. But to talk more about Ambessa and her further lore in Runeterra. So, Ambessa's launch skin was the Chosen of the Wolf. Theory going around it is that the skin line are people from League lore who have experienced near death. Pantheon had a god inside him, but he died, and through sheer will, Pantheon the human came back to life. Swain, on the brink of death, made a deal with the demon realm for power, and okay, I don't fucking know what the deal with God is, but Ambessa is also in this club as someone who has had a near-death experience, as you can see from her music video. Now, what does it mean to be chosen by the wolf? And why is being near-death so important? So, this is Kindred. They are the embodiment of death split between lamb and wolf, kind and harsh side. Since Ambessa has been chosen by the wolf, they're here to do something for death, and their goal is to stop someone who is defying Kindred, and that is Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser was a great Noxian warlord who basically Genghis Khan the entire Runeterra, but eventually died. He found the Death Realm so whack, so he decided, fuck it, I'm coming back to life. Of course, Kindred doesn't like that, but Kindred can't exactly touch Mord, because technically Mord isn't alive and thus can't die, so can't be touched by Kindred. So to make sure Mord stays sealed or can be killed, Kindred chooses a champion that will eventually have the power to take the throne of Noxus, which is the Immortal Bastion. And that is where Mordekaiser's grave is and where he's trying to eventually going to come out of. And if you remember back in Season 1, this is also what Mel was painting. This is the Iron Bastion right here. So the Black Rose is kind of involved in all of this because it's part of their duty to keep Mordekaiser sealed in there. And so that's why LeBlanc, or this person who has the shadow eyes, pretty sure it's LeBlanc, talk about that later, is on the lookout for people with big magical power because, you know, they can help seal away Mordekaiser or they can help further Nox's goals. Now, the theory was that Ambessa would be the one to take the throne and stop Mord, but it seems that with this finale and of course Ambessa fucking dying, Ambessa was only a part of the plan. In the music video, we see that there is a child growing in Ambessa, and this child has the same golden glow that Mel does. So, I think that Mel is the real champion of the wolf, and it will be Mel's duty to hold back Mordekaiser. And I think when Ambessa was dying, her final saying to Mel that she was the wolf is her handing over the mantle. It's now Mel's duty. Also, the chat lady is LeBlanc, so if you don't know who LeBlanc is, she's like a league champion that like dashes around and kills you with like one shot. She has the chains too, just like the fucking Black Rose. Also, she has these little eye tattoo thingies under her thing, so pretty sure that's LeBlanc. But basically in the lore, she's like, as I said, Black Rose leader, full-on illusionist. She can become anyone, so she basically has eyes everywhere because she could be literally anyone, as we've seen in the show. And she's constantly on the lookout for kids with magic powers. So that's probably why Mel was on her radar, and also why I think maybe that she could be a future thing for League of Legends moving forward, if they want to do more seasons of Arcane. But that's probably a different video. Also, this bird right here, that's Raum, because that's like Swain's bird. Three eyes, Swain's bird. So yeah, he's involved, he's watching it. Noxus is gonna go in the future. Anyway, moving on. So for these two definitely straight best friends, let's first answer what the fuck is going on. So the rune that Viktor gave young Jayce all those years ago is the acceleration rune. Ekko talks about it while making the Z drive here. Since I assume this is what Jayce based his work on, the acceleration rune is what lets the Hex Gates go send things away super fast, and also lets Ekko travel time really fast. And this is an edited acceleration rune, so what I think these two perfectly platonic best friends are doing is time traveling. I think they're going through this time or all times and or multiverses and solving this arcane problem. But the point is now that with this acceleration rune, they can move very fast and move anywhere, anytime they want. They can finally use magic to help people or just take the arcane very far away from where it can't hurt anyone. For further explanation as to how this all happened, the theory for a while is the fact that the hex core was incomplete. So, okay, League has 5 runes, right? Precision, Domination, Sorcery, Resolve, and Inspiration. And the X-Core only had 4 runes, all but Inspiration. And The Hex Core became complete the moment it ate Sky. She was inspiration. She was inspired by Viktor. The book that she wanted to give him was also colored gold and light blue, same color as the inspiration rune. Originally, I thought that meant that Sky was the embodiment of the complete Hex Core and thus was evil. But no, the moment Viktor fully revokes his humanity, promises an army to Ambessa in exchange for completing his glorious evolution. In this scene, inspiration is leaving him, Sky leaves him, and now his humanity is gone and the hex core is incomplete, and that's part of the reason why Viktor is inhuman for a lot of this. But then Jayce comes in very extremely straight and convinces Viktor that his imperfections are what make him human and that makes him worth fighting for. Jayce takes Sky's role as the inspiration rune, as Viktor's humanity, and they blast off to figure out the future together. The biggest question mark for me was if I actually liked the story, because it's like a time paradox. Hextech won't exist unless Jayce invents it, and Jayce never invents Hextech if Viktor never gives him the crystal. So you see the problem. Personally, I don't mind because there's very good emotional story for why this is the case. Jayce is the only person able to complete this task, and Viktor trusts him implicitly to be able to do that since they were so close in life. But what kinda seals the deal for me is the fact that the hammer disintegrates. Since Viktor keeps going back in time and trying different equations, different runes, the hammer keeps persisting in this spot because it always ends up in this spot every equation. But with the hammer crumbling, we see that the time loop has ended. They figured out the equation together and it's solved. Also, from a writing perspective, I just love that Viktor is the final boss. And I love how Jayce talks the humanity back into him. Arcane is innately a show about humanity and how people do stupid shit a lot of the time. And obviously, the final conclusion to that, to stop people from doing dumb stuff, from people doing emotional things, to finally get rid of war and hunger and all those things, is to make people have no emotions because then they can't act on them. But even if in that state they would be perfect, what does that really matter in a world with no dreams and no emotion? What is the point of perfection if no one can be there to feel it? The point is that imperfect as we are free, and that makes life worth living. And I think that's exemplified in what might be my favorite episode of the series, which is episode 7 of season 2. Episode 7 is, they say not to cry over spilled milk, but now I have cereal, and goddamn, milk would have been really good right now. This was the thing I was scared of, Ekko's Z Drive, because I didn't want Arcane to become some fucking endgame with some BS time travel plot. Nah, but as usual, Arcane writers blow out the fucking water with an incredibly emotional story that is fucking satisfying. I think what makes this so good is the fact that Ekko is the only character in the series that is concerned with the present. Sidebar as to how the time travel was determined. Jayce, the defender of tomorrow, is the character that is always focused on the future. He wants progress, so obviously that's where he's sent. Haim is someone who's stuck in the past. He doesn't want to accept magic could be useful and always tell people to delay until thing is perfect. So, of course, he's sent to the past. Ekko, even outside this trio, is someone who has moved past his trauma, his past, and isn't interested in progress in the future. He's focused on now, who he can help now. And so Ekko is jaunted not into a different time, but a different outcome. And it's so peak because not only is this Ekko's perfect outcome, it's Zaun's perfect outcome. Here, everyone grows up to be their full selves, and Zaun is the nation that they always wanted it to be. One of the characters I would like to focus on before Ekko was Silco. In this world, Silco finally broke the cycle, but not by walking away and avoiding his problems. He faced it, and he forgave, something that our main cast family never gets to do. But that's all it took. And this future is a future that Jinx and Vi discussed. What if Silco saw the letter that Vander made? Would things have turned out differently? Fuck yeah, it seems. And it is so fucking tragic that finally Ekko gets a smidge of happiness and he gets to spend it with Powder. I'd like to see this as Ekko has always wanted this. That's partially why he's so mad that Powder sided with Silco and became evil, because he knew the girl she was before. And there was also talks that there was a deleted scene in season 1 where Ekko searches for Jinx, but when he finds her, she rejects him and sides with Silco. And this is where the boy savior nickname would have come from, because he tried to save her. But throughout all of this, Ekko has known that there was a good person under that, but he probably steeled himself into thinking that that person is gone, Powder's gone. But here, in this alternate reality, he sees clear as day what he could have had, what he'd always wanted, and it breaks my fucking heart when he asks to pretend like it's their first time, because clearly, in this world, Powder and Ekko are happily together, but our Ekko will never get that. And fuck if this is kind of emotion cheating, but I don't know. This hurt me on some deep level. Also, I fucking love the spinning flower thing because it references the fucking spinning monkeys as Z-Drive spins to power up. And the scene glitches because it's the fucking Fanatoscope animation thingy that the monkeys are showing and that the Z-Drive is activating. That's so cool. And also, if you didn't think that there was any mention of Isha in the season, look at the flower. That's 100% the face. And okay, how would Ekko know about Isha? You're right, he wouldn't. But consider that this was also Isha's stand in another universe, and it's a memorial to everyone that Jinx has lost. It's Vi's memorial, yeah, and when Jinx in the alternate universe sends the pendant down, obviously probably a direct reference of, oh, she lost an Ekko. But this being Isha's dent also, it's the writers acknowledging that, yeah, that's what's happening here. This is the grave for people that Jinx has cared about in every universe. But back to Ekko, he sacrifices all of this so that he can go back to the main timeline and be the boy savior. Because that motherfucker, he clutches it up at the end. And okay, how I think he beat Viktor is that the fact that there can only be one Arcane in every universe. That's why Viktor says, oh, this is impossible, this device is impossible. Because there should be no other Arcane in this universe. But when fucking Ekko slams him with it, he's like, oh, okay. That's, I guess he just has another one. So I think the happy universe is safe from the threat of the Arcane because Ekko took it away from them. And now our canon universe is going to be safe from the Arcane because Jayce and Viktor are sending it away. But yeah, that's all I got for now. I have so many more thoughts on this series, but that's for a fucking longer video and for after I've fully digested this peak cinema. Go fucking watch Arcane. Don't play the fucking League of Legends game. This might be the best thing ever. My only gripes are the minor Season 3 bait, but after writing all of this, fuck, I don't give a fuck, dude. This shit's so peak. Let's fucking go, Arcane.